Welcome to Equal Time with Martha Burke. This week marks Pearl Harbor Day, December 7th, 1941. In the attack on the American air base at Pearl Harbor in Hawaii, the Japanese destroyed 188 aircraft and sank 6 ships, launching the U.S. into World War II. 2,400 Americans were killed and another 1,250 injured. The massive assault drove the American military to do something it had never done before. In addition to mobilizing 16 million men, nearly 400,000 women were admitted into the armed services. Among them were female code breakers, whose service paved the way for women in the post-war workforce, spycraft, and politics. By 1945, when victory over Japan was declared, the Navy had 5,000 code breakers and 4,000 of them were female. Prior to the bombing of Pearl Harbor, women in the military were limited to serving only as nurses. The attack changed that. In 1942, the Women's Army Auxiliary Corps was developed. Women's work options expanded to include clerical, banking, medical, and driving. But they still didn't get rights and benefits of their fellow male soldiers. The first women arrived at a new officer candidate school on July 20th, 1942. Among them were 125 enlisted women and 440 officer candidates, 40 of whom were black. Their arrival and training attracted considerable public interest because this group presented the biggest opportunity to test integration in the Army. Women had moved up a notch, but only to second-class military citizens. First class wouldn't happen until 1943, when President Roosevelt signed legislation making the Women's Army Corps part of the regular Army of the United States by dropping that word auxiliary. Only then did females achieve all the rank, privileges, and benefits their male counterparts had. And now, 82 years later, since Pearl Harbor Day, women have grown to almost 20% of the U.S. Armed Forces. And while there have been hundreds of 4-star generals, only 10 have been female. Progress or politics? You decide. Thanks for listening to Equal Time. I'm Martha Burke.